coming back, and now here they are being persecuted, and they have obviously, you'll see it inferred by Paul's response, that they believe that this persecution they're under is the day of the Lord, and they have missed the rapture. Now, to begin with, they wouldn't think that if they hadn't already been taught a pre-tribulation rapture, right? But Paul's response to them is going to be, you're not in the day of the Lord, because the day of the Lord cannot come until the catching away happens first. That's going to be his answer. And if you have not been caught away, then you're not in the day of the Lord because the church is still here. Then he's going to go even further and say that the church is the protective influence on the planet, and that even the spirit of Antichrist that now works in the world can't come to its full fruition until the church is gone and taken away. Then the Antichrist can come. That's where we're going. Now, if that doesn't teach you a pre-tribulation rapture, then you're not doing your exegetical work very well. Okay, here we go. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto him. What's the topic? Yeah, his coming, his appearance, and our gathering together to him. Isn't that what we just read about? Now I beseech you by this thing. Remember this. This is the topic now, says he. That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled either in spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as if it were from us, as that the day of the Lord is at hand. See what he's saying? He's saying there is just no way you're in the day of the Lord. Whether you've got some spiritual insight that tells you you're in the day of the Lord, or you've got some word of knowledge from someone telling you you're in the day of the Lord, or even if somebody shows up with a letter they claim is from me saying you're in the day of the Lord, you are not in the day of the Lord. And he says, I beseech you by your memory, your remembrance of what I taught you, of how the Lord is going to come and gather us, his parousia, his appearance, and our gathering to him. Remember by that as a proof that you're not in the day of the Lord. Now he's going to spell it out. Verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there be a... Now, translations go all over the place here, and we're going to spend a few minutes on this verse right here. The King James says, unless a falling away comes first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Let me first put a timeline in that verse, and then we're going to deal with that falling away thing. Because that is so commonly taught. That before the man of perdition can come, there has to be a falling away of the church first. That's the common teaching. There's going to be an apostasy of the church, a falling away of the church first. Well, actually, it doesn't say that, but there can't be a falling away of the true church before the man of sin is revealed. There will never be a falling away of the true church. That's not a possibility. But it's because of people struggling to translate this word, and we're going to deal with it. But here's his timeline. Whatever this falling away thing is has to happen first, and even says first, and then the man of sin will be revealed, who is the son of perdition. So if I can show you what that falling away thing is, then I can show you that the falling away thing happens before the revelation of the man of sin, right? Okay, good. The word that is translated falling away is the Greek word from which we get our English word apostasy. And when we think apostasy, we think of, falling away from the faith, which is right, absolutely true. The apostasy has this connotation to it. But the definition, the denotation of the word doesn't mean falling away from the faith. The denotation of the word simply means depart or departure. And that's precisely and exactly what the Greek word means. The Greek word does not mean fall away from the faith. The word is actually apostasia. Apostasia in the Greek simply means a departure. That's all the word means. I'm going to prove it to you. We're going to look up a bunch of verses. Because that same word is used throughout the New Testament. And in every single instance where you find the word, you find it saying departure from. There's two different ways that the word can be used. There's the noun, which is departure, and then there's a verb form, which is departing or leaving, but it's the same word. Understand what I mean? Just like pistis, the noun, pisteo is the verb. Okay, the activity of departing versus the departure itself. There's only two places in the Bible where the noun is used, the departure. This is one of those two places. Everywhere that the verb form is used and the only other place where the noun form is used, it says departure from this. You understand what I mean? It always defines what you're departing from. This is the only place in the Bible where it doesn't say what the departure is from. It simply says the departure happens first. Now, because Paul doesn't in that verse say departure from the faith or departure from the church, because it is this word apostasia, which has been transliterated into the English as apostasy, instead of translating it departure, they've transliterated it apostasy, and it was handed down to us as the falling away.
So did they do that every time the word departure is used, or just in those two places?
Just that one place. This is why exegetical work is so important. This is why you have to dig into what the language actually says. Because you could read right by that and say, well, there's a falling away first. A falling away? What falling away? There's a falling away. What falling away are we talking about? Now, there is, just so there's no confusion, there is a place specifically that does talk about a leaving, an apostasy, a departure from the faith.
Is it a Paul writing?
Some have departed from the faith. It is Paul writing. We're going to look at it in just a second. There are some who have departed from the faith, but it says what they departed from. In every other instance, it's departed from something. This is the only place where he said the departure happens first, then the man of sin is revealed. What's the subject? The subject is the parousia of Christ and our gathering together unto him. The topic has not changed. He has not anywhere in the text introduced the concept of a falling away of the church. He has simply said there is a parousia, an appearing of Christ. There is a gathering together unto him. You are not in the day of the Lord, because first the departure has to happen, and then the man of sin is revealed. That's what he said in the Greek. But that turned into there's a falling away. So let me prove this to you in some great detail, because there be folk out there who I want to get this, because if you get this, I remember there was a guy once on the internet who offered some sum of money, $50,000 to anyone who could show in the Bible where it says pre-tribulation rapture. You don't find the words pre-tribulation rapture anywhere in the Bible. Well, no, if you're reading English, but the Bible wasn't written in English. If you look at it in the Greek, he says, I beseech you by his parousia and our gathering together unto him, not to believe you're in the day of the Lord, because you yourselves know that first the departure happens, then that man of sin will be revealed. That's what it says in the Greek. Okay, so let's look at some verses. I'm going to hand out a bunch of verses. Tom over there, Luke 2:37. Kaylee, Luke 4:13. Megan, Luke 13:27. Libby, Acts 5:37 and 38. Jennifer, Acts 12:10. And Melissa, Acts 15:38. What?
I'm going to ask if you could spell
Apostasia. Yeah. In English letters, Apostasia.
You just guess it.
Look it up. I'm right.
It's right. It's in my Bible.
And that was translated to falling away.
No, departed. Departure.
Defection from truth is what it is.
It says defection from truth.
Yeah, but defection is in italics and the truth is not. And so
Precisely right.
was added.
Exactly.
Defection is what they,
All it means is departure, defection, leaving. Right.
now, I
precisely
was
right.
It says defection from truth, and then I realized that it's not in italics.
Exactly. Exactly. One more time. What it is you just have to understand the natural progression of language.
And then,
Remember how Sunday we were talking about how baptize, baptizo in the Greek, rather than translate it, which is immerse, they transliterated it into the word baptize, and then the word baptize took on connotations of its own that immerse doesn't have. That's precisely what happened here. The word apostasia, rather than translate it the departure, which is the right translation, they transliterated it to apostasy, and apostasy has taken on the connotation not just of departure, but of departure from